Still thinking, considering whether you move to Texas, leave California? Well, we're going to get into the pros and cons of it today. Uh, there's a lot of pros to why you might want to leave. There's a few cons you might want to consider. But let's get into it in a few minutes and stick around to the end because I think the number one reason will surprise you a bit. And as always, before we get too deep into this, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. And when you subscribe, you'll see a little bell button pop up. Make sure you hit that. That way you get notified anytime we make a video. And you'll be one of the first to know that a new video's up and something you might want to see and check out and talk about moving from California to Texas. So, yeah, please subscribe. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of moving from California to Texas. You decide you want to leave California, you want to move to Texas, and you decide this is what you want to do, or you might still be considering it. We want to go over it and give you little options and things to think about. But if you do decide you want to move, make sure you get in contact with us. My number, my name, and email address are below. Get in contact with us. Let us help you set this thing up and make it easier for you to move. Okay, let's get right into it. Probably the number one reason people want to move, or number one or two, people want to move from California and go to Texas is it's cheaper. The average income in California is $78,000 a year. The average income in Texas is $55,000. You can get by on 36 to 55 pretty well in Texas. Your home prices are quite a bit cheaper, although they are going up and they are seeing significant increases in home prices, same as they are here in California. Used to be you get a home for $175,000 pretty easy. Now you're looking probably $250,000, $300,000 to get a pretty decent sized house and a decent house in Texas. But with that said, you can get some decent houses, and I'll put a few of them up here to give you a quick view of some of the things that's for sale. But keep that in mind. Your cost of your home will be a lot cheaper. So if you're selling out here in California and you're moving to Texas, a lot of times the equity in your house will buy you a house in Texas almost payment free. If not, it'll give you a darn good down payment and get you there. So if you got a house to sell here and you're moving there to buy a new house, make sure you consider that is cheaper. Number two reason that I hear people say most of the time, I want to move to Texas because politics. I can understand that. I'm not taking sides. If you like the politics in California, great. If you like the politics in Texas, great. But number two reason I hear a lot of people saying is, hey, I'm done with the politics in Texas, with California. And I agree that some of them are pretty stupid. I mean, me and my wife were doing a remodel on our bathroom here in Sacramento. And we looked up on Amazon and went to buy a shower head and a rainfall shower head with a nice wand and everything, a nice modern outfit. And guess what it says? Can't ship to California. Ship everywhere else. And I don't know why they can't ship it to California, but they can ship it everywhere else. So basically we had to have it shipped into Nevada to my daughter's house in Reno, and she's going to drive it down to us later. But yeah, I can understand some of the politics and the reasons people get upset and decide they don't want to live in California anymore. And if that's your reason, that's a valid reason. Politics are something to consider. But you also need to look at the Texas politics and make sure that's something you want to live under also. Greg Abbott, who's the governor in Texas currently, there is an election coming up, but the current governor is not real popular with a lot of people, and he seems to pull a lot of stunts, that what I call them, it costs the taxpayers a lot of money, and seems to be pretty silly, just trying to get his name up on the newspapers and stuff. So yeah, look into that a little bit. Greg Abbott is the governor. Make sure that's the type of administration you want to live under. I don't know if he'll win this next one, but I'll tell you this: Texas now bleeds red. It used to be a Democratic state, but Back in the Clinton era, it switched over to Republican, and it has remained Republican since, and it's staunch Republican. So keep that in mind. Number three, the reason to consider is more land. When you buy a house there, you get a lot more property with the land. In fact, if you know property is something you're after, larger property, and you want to raise horses, you want to just road gardening or whatever in Texas, then you can get some good sized property at some reasonable prices. I'm gonna put one up here. I'll show you here in a few minutes. I'll throw it up here right quick. It's in Alba, Texas, which is outside of Dallas. It's Alba, Texas. It's probably beside one of the premier bass fishing lakes in the country. It's a beautiful house on 10 acres of land at a reasonable price. So yeah, it's something to think about and consider if that's one reason you want to go. Another reason that people seem to like it is no income tax. That's right. In Texas, you have no income tax. So all your money, you don't have to pay income tax on it except to the federal government, but state level, there's no income tax. So that can save you quite a bit of money a year, you know, depending on what your income is. It can save $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year. And that's something to consider. This is a double-edged sword here. The next one, it's some people love it and some people hate it, and some people are going to be surprised by it, and that's guns. In Texas is an open carry state. Anybody that wants to carry a gun can carry a gun. You don't even have to have any special training. It used to be you have to have a concealed permit and had to have special training to do it. Now you can just strap a gun on and walk around. And you don't have to have any special permits for it. So, you know, it's kind of like the Old West again. If you want to put it on and carry it, go ahead. If you want to strap it onto your shoulder belt or carry it in your pocket or put it in your car and carry it with you, you can. And so you're liable to walk into, the cons to it is you're liable to walk into a restaurant with your family and or go into a shopping mall and want to sit down and eat or something like that. And you're going to be confronted with some people with guns on their hips or carrying a rifle across their back. And that's perfectly legal in the state of Texas. And it might be something that would shock you. And if you got young kids, it might be something to shock them. But it's something to consider. So guns is a two-edged sword. It's a pro if you're for guns, and it's a con if you're kind of freaked out about having people around you with guns. Texas economy is doing really well. There's a lot of jobs. So if you need a job and you want to go to Texas, you're going to get a job. Might not be the job you want, might not be at the pay you want, but you're going to get a job in Texas because the economy is really booming. And there are some you know, really good paying jobs in Texas. It depends on what your skill level is, like it does anywhere else. But yeah, jobs is definitely pro. But you know, here in California, we've got some pretty good economy, and there's a lot of jobs open too. Another one to consider, though, that goes along with that is this is another one of those double-edged swords is minimum wage. If you're wanting to work for a living, minimum wage in Texas is still $7.25 an hour. It's $12 here in California. Kind of sucks for you if you're working for it, but if you're starting a new business and you want to get a business off the ground and you can hire people at $7.25, it takes a lot less money to get going. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, minimum wage, but $7.25 in Texas is still the minimum wage. Starting a business in Texas is very easy. They're a very business-friendly state. You don't have a lot of regulations to meet. It's fairly cheap to incorporate or start an LLC in Texas compared to California, especially. California, it's, I don't know, it costs you $800 or $900 to get something started here in California as an LLC. It costs you about $150, $200 in Texas to get going. And there's not a lot of paperwork you have to fill out or qualify for in Texas. You can just, boom, jump on it. And again, minimum wage is there to for something to think about. Now, one of the biggest cons about moving and leaving California is the hassle. Moving anywhere is a hassle. Moving, a couple of thousand miles is a huge hassle. I did it from Texas to California, and so I know. Uh, and the way we did it was we used the pod service. So we had them bring out a couple of pods to our house, and over a couple of weeks we loaded the pods. Then they came and picked up the pods, and they transported them here to California for us. And when we got into our house here, we called them up, and they dropped the pods in our front driveway. We were able to empty the pods, carry all their stuff back into the house, rearrange everything, and they came and picked up the empty pods. That is a good way to do it if you can't afford a full service mover. Of course, full service mover is one of the best ways to do it. If you've got the money and you've got the funds, and that's the way you want to do it. They'll come in, box everything up, pack it all up for you, load it in a truck, take it to where you're moving to, hold it for you, and then come and unload it, load it into your house. They'll even help you unbox it if that's what you want done. And but you're going to be expected to pay $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 for that at least. The pod service I think cost me $2,000, so that's something you might want to consider. And next thing is people think, well, how am I going to sell my house here in California, buy a house in Texas, and not get caught up with dual loans and all of that good stuff? Well, that's where I come in. I can help you in that end. If you've got a house here to sell, there's several ways we can do this. We can put the house on the market here, we can sell it, and we can ask for a rent back to give you a couple of months to find a house in Texas. And that's happening quite a bit here in California, and a lot of people are going for it, and they don't have a problem giving you a couple of months rent back. So yeah, that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is you can take a bridging loan. You can have your house here in California. You can go find your house here in Texas, get a bridging loan, which is a temporary loan that allows you to buy the house put an offer in, contract in, buy the house in Texas, and then sell the house in California. And you can always do a contract subject to, which means that you put a contract on a house in Texas, subject to you being able to sell your house in California. Sometimes it's a seller's market right now, so sometimes that's a kind of what you call a tough sell, and a lot of sellers might go, no, I don't want to wait. I don't want to take that chance that you might not be able to sell your house in California. I don't know what it's like. So it's always best to put your house in California on sale first here. Get a contract on it, then you can go and say, hey, I've got a contract, subject to this contract closing, then I want to buy your house, and most of the time sellers will go for that. But any way you want to do it, we'll be sure to get you going, and we can make it as smooth a transaction both ways as possibly get you there. And I've got my partners that I'm working with in Texas, and they will work with us, and we'll make sure that your smooth transition both ways. So make sure you get in touch with us. Name, number, and telephone, main number, and email address are down below. Contact me and let me help you out. Let's figure it out for you. We can get together. We can do it. And I guarantee you we'll make it as smooth as possible and make it as hassle-free for you as possible. Know what we're doing when we're doing this, and we can make your life easy. So make sure you contact us if you're wanting to make the move. And hope you think about all the things that we've talked about, and that you make the decision that's best for you, and you end up where you want to be the happiest at. Thank you.